Good afternoon. I am so glad you're here to honor Jesus and the imprint he left with us. I'm delighted to be here on this lovely September afternoon reminiscing the life of my uncle. Thank you for all the aunts, uncles, and cousins who drove out far to remember our beloved Jesus. I'm Jesus' first niece, born when he was only 8 years old. I'm extremely grateful to be speaking on his behalf. I'm here to remind you of the young and pure soul that was taken way too soon. I will talk about the life of Jesus, the future he would have had, and the impact he had on us. First, I will talk about the life of Jesus and how I looked up to him as a big brother. Jesus was filled with positivity and joy, and if given the chance, he would have thrown away all the worries of life and lived how he always wanted to. He had such a heavy heart towards others and never wanted to be left doing anything. And his hands were always dirty and filled with so many responsibilities that he had to fill himself. Because at an early age, he was always taught and shown independence, and if you wanted something done, you would have to go and chase for it, and work for it. So now that I'm older, it all makes sense why he did what he did. Jesus was a brother, son, uncle, cousin, and much more to others. In my case, he was my uncle, but I looked up to him as a big brother that I never had. He would always be the one down for anything, and when I tell you anything, I mean anything. If you wanted, candy at 9 p.m., he'd bike down to the corner store. If you wanted the ice cream and the truck ready pass, he'd chase down the ice cream truck. I mean, anything. And in my case, I feel like he did that my entire life. And there's one memory that sums up his whole person itself, and that is we had just moved, and he was a senior in high school, and I was a middle schooler. And the house was way closer to the middle school than the high school, but I had no idea how to get home because we had just moved. I'm like, what the heck? And he took it into his own hands to walk from the high school to the middle school and then all the way to our house. And it was probably a 2 to 3 mile walk from the high school to the middle school, and then maybe a mile, I don't know, to our house. But I just can't believe he did that, and at the time I was just like, oh my god, thank you, whatever. But now it's just such a big deal because I know I wouldn't do that for my cousin, but he always had such a soft spot for his family, and no matter the circumstances, he would do it, and that is just, it brings joy to my heart just knowing what kind of person he was when I was younger, and now I will talk about the future he wanted, including his future career and a family of his own. So, as you guys know, the young and confused teenager, my uncle, would have never even thought of having a stable career. The past few years, before he passed, he was dedicated to one, and it was one that he always told himself that he would be when he was younger. He turned his life around and found himself heavily into the Lord again, and it led him wanting to be pastor again, and he found so much faith in that career again. And like I said, he was very passionate about it, and it just brought so much joy to our hearts seeing him dedicated and healthy and strong again. I can just hear him saying, "I'm gonna do it for you, Mom," with the biggest smile on his face. And I remember when I would see his smile, it would remind me of a star lost in space, because he always had one on, but behind that was just a really lost young teenager or adult. But he eventually was able to move past his struggles and made the best of what he was chasing for. And that is always something I'll remember of him. No matter what, he'd get things done. And he wanted a family of his own, and how we all knew that was because he was such a good person with kids. And we all knew he had such a soft spot for wanting to be a father so early on. And everyone knew he would be such a good father and husband because his family was his life. And the reason why is because he grew up with little kids. Like I said, he was 8 years old when I was born, and then my brother was born 2 years after me, so he was still a little kid, and so he grew up with us. He cared for us when my mom was at work or school, because she was a young teenager when she had me, so he was just always there and around us. And you can kind of think of it as that one family member you put in charge, but instead of being annoyed or bothered, my uncle was actually very excited and happy that you believe in him, that he can watch your little kids. And he would play with us, let us put makeup on him. Everyone here that has little kids knew Uncle Seuss would be the one to watch them for free too. And like I said, he was just a kid himself. He always had that spirit of oh, let's do this, let's do that. And that's something I want to really miss about him. He was a very kind-hearted soul, and You know, everyone here knew that he would have been a great husband and father. So now I will talk about the impact he had on us, including our last words exchanged and memories of him that will last on forever. So the impact my uncle had on us will forever stay with us, and that is to not take anything for granted. He showed us that life can get hard to the point where you feel like you're losing everything. And he did this plenty of times, but he always would show us the positive side most times. He would always try to be strong for us, especially the little kids, me and my brother. And this kind of led up to our last conversation we had. And at the time, I didn't know what was going on in his personal life. I just knew he was getting better. And he called me and he was like, "How are you doing?" You know, just catching up. It was the summer of me going to junior year. And he asked me, he was like, "Will you promise that you'll graduate and go to college for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course," you know. And in the moment, I was like, "What the heck? Like, why is he asking me this?" But it just meant a lot to him in the moment because I was like his little sister and I was finally growing up and he could already tell I was going through a better path than he did. And unfortunately, those were our last words. And yeah, so it just meant a lot. So everyone here can agree that he had made such a big impact on your life and you won't take anything or anyone for granted. And all the memories of him are going to be cherished for many generations. Such a good guy, and you know, everyone here would have been so proud of him if, you know, he was still here and accomplished his goals. My uncle reminds me of a good book. There was always a new chapter starting in his life, either good or bad, but he always showed us the positive side, and, you know, I love him for that. So family or not, he always had your back, no matter what, and he was a good guy for sure. So now I will finish with some warming words for our beloved Jesus. Today I talked about the life of Jesus, the future he wanted, and the impact he had on us. I'm here to remind you of the young and pure soul that was taken way too soon. I hope everyone found some peace in this and has a warming afternoon. In memory of Jesus, let us sing and cherish this time together because that is all that he would have wanted. Thank you.